Welcome and thank you for joining us again for ḻEMMA's podcast. Today we're going to talk about social security rights when a person lives, works, or pays up in more than one state. People often think that when you return back to Malta, things will sort out themselves automatically, and that is not always the case. Today with me to speak on the matter and perhaps explain a bit better the subject are Rachel and Michelle from the International Relations Unit. They are here with me to explain today how contributory benefits work in different countries and how they apply when somebody returns or comes to work in Malta. It is important for people to know before they make the choice to move and to know what it involves. So, Michelle and Rachel, I'm going to ask you please to introduce yourselves a bit for us, for our listeners.
So we both work at different office at the International Relations Unit within the Department of Social Security, and we deal with customers on a daily basis.
Before we go any further, may I kindly ask you to explain to our listeners exactly what contributory benefits mean?
Contributory benefits are benefits linked to Social Security contributions paid during a person's work life. They are not based on income, nor are they means-tested. They depend on whether contributions were paid and for how long. Okay. These benefits include sickness benefit, family-related benefits, invalidity benefits, unemployment benefits, and last but not least, pensions.
Okay.
And it's important to say this clearly. This discussion is not only about pensions. Pensions are the most well-known example, but many people need contributory benefits
before they arrive for their pension.
Much earlier in life, sometimes without warning because of an illness or unemployment or any other family changes.
And so therefore, if contributions are missing, an individual can feel it way before their pension. Are we on the same page? Or do we agree?
Yes, of course. Missing contributions can affect entitlement now, not only later. We see a lot of clients who take for granted their contributions are being paid or that their records are correctly updated, which is not always the case. It is important to keep track of your contribution record.
When does international coordination become relevant?
This becomes relevant when a person works or pays Social Security contributions in more than one state. This could involve Malta and another EU or EEA country or Switzerland. It could also involve Malta and the country with which Malta has a bilateral agreement with, namely Australia, Canada, and New Zealand. And it may also involve more than one of these countries in a lifetime.
And you didn't mention the UK. After the Brexit, there were changes.
Yes, of course. Following Brexit, certain rules still apply under the Trade and the Cooperation Agreement between the UK and the EU. So the agreement is not with Malta.
Specifically.
It's between the UK and the EU. But however, since Malta, we're part of the EU, we still apply this Trade and Cooperation Agreement. For certain benefits, such as pension, coordination rules still apply. Not every benefit, but some of the benefits, the rules still apply.
Including pensions.
Yes, and people often don't realize how common the situation is. Someone may work abroad for a few years, return to Malta and think nothing about it. Until much later when, problems or issues arise.
So if I'm understanding you correctly, those years abroad remain part of the person's contributory history. And what if these are not taken into consideration? What happens?
In that case, a person's rights can be affected and not just little. A person might not reach the minimum number of contributions needed to qualify for a contributory benefit if the aggregation of the contributions is not done. Meaning peers from other countries are not counted together.
Okay.
For example, in case of pension, someone might have 9 years of contributions paid in Malta.
Okay.
Without that 1 year, that person would not qualify for a pension because Malta, the requirement is 10 years.
Okay.
If the contributions paid outside Malta are also taken in account, the person may qualify then.
They may indeed qualify, okay.
It is worth mentioning that in case of pension, To apply these rules, a person must have at least 1 year of contributions paid in each country concerned.
Okay.
In other contributory benefits, any contribution counts. But in case of pension, you need at least once year.
And
1 year.
1 year has to be continuous or
No, it can be interrupted as long as there's a total of 1 year,
Year,
meaning
okay.
52 or 53
so you
weeks.
qualify after the 52, 53 weeks.
Exactly.
Okay.
Not qualify. We apply the regulation.
All right, yes, you
apply the
you apply the
regulation.
regulations once this person has
Because
a
he
52.
might need like 2 years or 3 years to qualify.
Right.
But if he has less than 1 year, we don't even apply
You
the
don't-
regulation.
Okay. It's not even considered, let's say that, to make it
Exactly.
in simpler, to say it in simpler terms, okay?
Same principle applies for the bilateral agreement. In that case, once a person becomes eligible for a pension through the aggregation, Malta pays a partial pension reflecting those years, for example, the 9 years of contributions paid in Malta. The person must apply for a separate pension from the country where they are living,
Okay?
for the pension from the other countries where they have worked, and the foreign authorities apply the same principle. Like, for example, if a person is living in Malta, has worked in Malta, Italy, and the UK. So when he reaches Maltese pensionable age, he applies for a Maltese pension. When he reaches the Italian pensionable age, from Malta he applies for a pension from Italy.
Okay.
And when he reaches the UK pensionable age, from Malta, they apply for
So you have to apply in every state
a
separately.
pension from every state, but from
Malta.
the
Malta.
state you are residing in.
All right, okay. And many people believe that these rules only apply to the Maltese citizens or to EU nationals. Is that correct or is that wrong?
No, this is one of the most important points to understand. EU coordination rules and bilateral agreements are not based on nationality. They apply to anyone who worked legally and paid social security contributions. In the case of some bilateral agreements, they may also be based on periods of legal residence.
This also includes third country nationals,
When you say third country nationals, can you...
meaning persons coming outside of the EU, EEA, or Switzerland.
Okay.
And for us, people coming from who have worked in Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, with whom we have a bilateral agreement with, are not considered third country nationals.
Okay. So correct me if I am wrong. Therefore, the system is based on contributions, not nationality.
Exactly.
Now, people often hear about the regulation of 883 of the 2004, but maybe, we don't know what it actually means because it's quite rather technical thing. Could you kindly explain it a bit better?
Yes, at its core, the regulation protects people who move within the EU, EEA, or Switzerland. It makes sure that people do not lose their social security rights just because they move from one country to another.
Okay.
And it allows insurance periods paid in different countries to be taken into account together when checking entitlement for a contributory benefit.
Fits.
But there is a key rule that many people misunderstand. You can only pay social security contributions and be insured in one country at a time.
And the country that you are residing in, the country that you are working in, or can you choose which one?
No, you can't choose. It means contributions are paid only in the country where the person is actually working or carrying out his employment.
Okay.
You cannot choose to pay contributions in one country because it offers better benefits.
So therefore, going back to my question, no, you have to
No.
pay where you are working and where you have your activity.
Exactly. And you cannot pay contributions in two countries at a time.
So, if I am understanding you correctly, if a person is working in Malta, he can only pay here and cannot, for example, choose to pay also in Italy.
No.
Only here.
Only in Malta.
What does it mean in practice, to make it very clear?
Yes, the regulation is very clear on this point. For each period of work, one country's legislation only applies.
Okay.
Later, when a benefit is assessed, each country pays only for the contributions paid under its own system. If one pays contributions in a country where they are not legally liable, those contributions are not recognized.
So coordination doesn't mean double payments. Do we agree?
Exactly.
All right, okay.
It means no overlap, no gaps, and fair treatment for everyone.
And what about people who work outside of the EU? Is that where the bilateral agreement comes in?
Exactly, yes. Malta has agreements with countries such as Australia, Canada, and New Zealand. These agreements mainly apply for pensions, not other contributory benefits like the regulation. Then, depending on the agreement concerned, their entitlement may be based on contributions or periods of residence.
And therefore, once again, nationality is not a deciding factor here. Do we agree?
Agreed.
Yes, as usual, what matters is the contributions paid and the residence periods completed in those countries which we have the agreement with.
And how does this affect people in real life?
Let's take sickness benefit, for example. In Malta, eligibility requires at least 50 contributions to be paid over a lifetime and 20 contributions paid in the last 2 consecutive years. So if someone worked abroad recently, very recently, shortly before becoming ill, those contributions might be essential for us. For him.
Okay. So if we're saying just to, for people to understand, if you don't have enough here, that you reach out.
Yes,
to
we
the
contact the
country.
social security institution of the other country and we ask for those contributions so that we can take them in consideration, not to be transferred.
Okay.
Another example is unemployment benefit. The same contribution conditions like sickness benefit apply. You need 50 contributions in a lifetime and 20 in the last 2 consecutive years. If you don't have enough of contributions in Malta, if the person does not qualify, we send for the contribution record
Okay.
abroad to help reach eligibility.
The
Yes,
eligibility.
exactly.
Okay.
Then there's another example is survivor's pension,
Known as the widow's pension or the widow's pension. Okay.
which is often overlooked. If a person worked in more than one country, the survivor or widower entitlement may depend on the full contribution history of
Even abroad.
the demised.
Okay.
Pension always remain the most familiar example because it shows clearly how each country pays its share based on contributions paid under its system.
Okay. And what are the most common misunderstandings that you encounter that you
One
see?
common belief is that everything happens automatically, which is not the case. Information must be identified, then requested, and then confirmed between social security institutions.
Another misunderstanding is thinking that contributions are transferred from one country to another. That's not correct. Each country preserves its contribution record paid under its own system. Then contribution records are exchanged between authorities for authenticity verification and to help one qualify for the benefit.
So saying, if you need to know a person's history, you can ask, but it will never be transferred. Do we agree?
Exactly.
Okay.
Many people also think that they can choose where to be insured. That's not possible.
Okay.
As explained earlier, as a general rule, insurance follows your place of work. There are exceptions, but these are specific cases, of course.
All right. And what should people do to protect their right to benefit?
We always advise to keep records of work both in Malta and abroad. And Malta we strongly recommend to keep a copy of FS3s, contract of work, pay slips, and other important documents work-related, of course. Same applies to work carried abroad. Obviously, documents won't be named FS3s.
They will be differently because every state has their own system and everything. But you need to keep a record. How important is it that people check their contributions, that everything is in line?
Yes, it is very important. People should be aware that moving country has social security consequences. Before assuming entitlement, it's important to understand how past contributions are treated.
Before we close, and I thank you for your time and expertise, can you please tell our listeners where they can contact you? How can they check online?
So they can contact us directly on our email address, which is iru.dss@gov.mt.
Okay.
And contributions can be checked directly from the Social Security website online.
Okay, all right. I thank you both for your time, for coming here. The message is very simple, okay, before we close. If you have paid contributions abroad, these will not be lost. However, they do not manage themselves. You cannot expect that everything will happen or work out automatically. You also need to do your work. They depend on the proper coordination, okay, and also the proper application of rules and accurate contribution records. I thank you both for making the time to join us and explain better. Għal dawk is-semmija li jixtiequ jisimgħu l-istess podcast bil-Malti nofruhulkom ukoll. Grazzi.